Greetings, everyone. Okay, we seem to have. Okay, yes, now it is all coordinated. Sorry, for a second, things were not matching everywhere. Greetings and welcome to Oral Pathology 360's Oral Pathology Tuesdays. And today we are going to Greece. And we have a very good, great guest who is another person I have met thanks to LinkedIn. And Dr. Eleni Karagopolo. I'm looking at her to see if I'm saying it right. Okay. She is our guest today. She's an oral medicine specialist. And if you want to know and get updated on what's happening with AI in terms of the actual practice and use of it in the assessment or detection of oral cancer, you need to stay with us for that because that's exactly what we're going to talk about. In case you are new here, I'm Dr. Mandana Donahue. I'm the founder and director of Oral Pathology 360. Uh, what I would say an enterprise, or more accurately, a movement that was created basically to promote oral pathology and went on to include oral medicine. And now we are oral and maxillofacial diagnostics related. So, with that, let me just go on. But before we actually start, I have a little information again about open mic. And because we have extended the date, and are you a brilliant professional who's ready for a bigger stage but waiting for someone to open doors to impactful opportunities? If so, Oral Pathology 360 has the solution for you. Our open mic contest is your chance to create your own opportunities and stand in the light you deserve. By participating in the contest, you could win a chance to be a guest speaker at the International Oral Diseases Case Presentation Conference 2024. To enter the contest, simply choose the topic, pay the fees, and submit your abstract. But hurry, although by popular demand we have extended the abstract submission deadline to February 14th, there's not much time and you don't want to miss your moment. Unseen talent deserves a stage, and we want to give you that stage. Register now and let's make an impact together. Yes. With that, let me welcome our guest, Dr. Eleni. Wonderful to have you with us.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
You're most welcome. So, just a very one liner introduction is that Dr. Eleni Garagopoulos is an esteemed oral medicine specialist with a rich academic background from national and Cabostrian
Apodistrian.
Kapodistrian University of Athens and the Eastman Dental uh, Institute, UCL. Okay. And if you are following her on LinkedIn, you will see that she posts a lot of nice cases. And I suggest you go and find her on LinkedIn. Her details are there on the website where the event is posted. Welcome. Wonderful to have you with us.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be part of this group and looking forward for the presentation and discussion.
Yes.
To, in Athens here, it's it is 11:30 a.m. The weather is great, although it's January, it's winter. I don't know from which part of the world you are connected. We have a mild winter, a lot of sunshine despite the winter. It's a good day to discuss oral pathology and looking forward.
Yes, wonderful. Well, we already have Professor Hiller with us. He is from South Africa.
South Africa.
Yes, we will have more people who will actually log in. By the way, just to inform everybody, unless you're logged into this program from YouTube and you are actually signed into YouTube, you will not be able to send us messages. So if you're watching it from any of the other platforms and you would like to take part in the discussion, please go to YouTube and then join from there. Okay, let's watch the lecture and then come back for the discussions.
Hello, dear colleagues. My name is Eleni Georgakopoulou. I am an oral medicine specialist from Greece. I have my private practice in Athens, and I work as a postdoc researcher in the Medical School of Athens, the National and Kapodistrian University of Athens. Today, I'm going to present a short um, group of findings regarding the application of artificial intelligence in oral medicine with a focus on how it could help diagnose earlier oral cancer and make a prognosis about the progression of precancerous lesions as well as the progression of cancer after the diagnosis. In other words, if we can use artificial intelligence tools in order to predict the recurrence of oral cancer. So my next slide is about the introduction to the presentation. As I mentioned, we will focus on real-world application. I'm going to refer to studies that other colleagues performed, good colleagues, some of them I know them personally. And what I would like to offer you, and I hope you will find useful, is I want to save you time from spending the hours I've spent looking around to gather information as a clinician about artificial intelligence in oral medicine. And I hope you will find my effort useful. So I have to declare no conflicts of interest, of course. I won't bother you a lot with previous already mentioned details about how artificial intelligence works. I'm not an expert in artificial intelligence. I will focus on how applications of artificial intelligence can be applied in oral medicine, clinical oral medicine, but as you see, and you may already know, there are also applications in oral pathology. Let's not lose time with introduction and start with the first study I found very interesting. Is a study by Islam et al. It was published in 2023. The authors tried 3 different deep learning models. They used these models to identify between benign and malignant lesions. How the systems they used worked. So they used some sophisticated neural networks. One of them was VGG19. How it works. It was designed for picture identification and classification. It can recognize images. 19 is a symbol that the network has 19 layers of processing. Let's make it more simple because this is what I wish to do. How it works. Like you have a child and you show them many pictures of animals in a book, and then you ask the child to recognize the animals. By repetition of similar images, a high number of similar images, the toddler is able to recognize animals when they see new photographs of animals. This is the principle of how it works. Another system they used was the data efficient image transformer. How it works, it is a more sophisticated system. It can learn fast to recognize basic characteristics in images, so it doesn't need the same amount of data. You remember, the most important thing about artificial intelligence is data. I referred to the previous lecture. The data it uses are fewer, but it is a very fast learner, so it can learn to recognize different types of characteristics and make decisions about which type of, let's say in this example, car it is in the picture. The other type of application they used was the mobile net, and I am referring to the word application because it is a light system and it can be used in smartphones and tablets, in gadgets that have application. How it works, imagine like if you have this type of dog breed identifier application. It can do real-time object recognition on mobile devices and can give you an answer to your question, whether your question is what type of breed of dog this is, or do I see a benign or a malignant lesion in the mouth of a patient, or if the patient is using it in my mouth. So the good with the mobile net, the advantage of mobile net is that it doesn't require a lot of battery power and it doesn't take a lot of computational power, so it won't slow down the normal average smartphones and average user owns. let's see how the colleagues did. They used a database of the Medley collection of oral lesions. This is an open data collection of oral photos, and they are already classified as benign or malignant by the authors that uploaded the pictures. So one thing that's good is that everyone can have access, and other models can be trained in this one and compare the results. So they utilized these three systems I mentioned, and they found that despite the different way they process the images, they all performed really good. I'm not going to go into detail if the system they worked have pros and cons, etc. I'm just referring now to the data and the information, and then in the discussion we can spend more time making comments about individual papers that I found interesting to present to you. I hope you find them interesting too. I found this one in particular very interesting because it used three different ways of processing imaging and with different computational power required. And it is impressive that they did really well. Another same type of research was performed in Jordan from my good friend Yazan Hassona and my good friend Dr. Dimitris Malamos from Greece. And they participated in this very interesting work. And I will explain why I find it interesting. The most important thing I found interesting is that they used smartphone pictures and digital cameras pictures from different real-time photos, not real-time, real-life photos they had collected from patients of the authors, of other doctors. So they used the kind of photos we receive in Viber, we receive in Messenger, we receive in in WhatsApp from other doctors of other specialties, doctors patients who we may not know, and they contact us through mobile phone. And what it tried to do is tried to analyze those pictures in a simple way that can give us a decision whether we see a benign or a malignant lesion in this image. The good thing is that it is comparing it to the previous study that used the database. In my humble opinion, I think it's a bit more realistic, the use of real smartphone pictures, because when we upload some pictures, whether we do it for a paper, for our own site to show our work, we always kind of do some elaboration in the picture, and maybe it's not the kind of picture a smartphone would. It's not the original smartphone picture, so they used the original data. So just to make it more easy, the data is the important part I'm going to discuss about. I'm going as we progress to discussion, is how good the data are and how good the system applies to our data. So that was very clever from the group of Hasona, that they used the smartphone collection of pictures. And they used another type of system to evaluate the efficient net B0 model. What is this? It is a convolutional neural network, a type of an artificial intelligence system that is looking for patterns in the photographs and can find lines and colors and make a summary of these patterns, and then make them a pattern identifying system very fast and make decision benign, malignant, or whatever else, as we saw. It's a car of this type, of the other type. So what happens with this efficient net B0? It is quite accurate without needing a lot of computer power, so it can be used in smartphone applications. And as I mentioned, the photos they used are from smartphones, so you understand that they made the a project that can be used in easy devices like smartphones that any doctor or a patient can have. So they had quite a good performance. They used the IUC under the curve system of evaluation. What does this mean? This is the ROC curve, and this is the area under the curve. The system performs better as closer is this curve to 1, to the top. And the model's ability to do a good precision decision, a good and precise decision, it's better if it goes near 1, value 1. And this is the area under the curve, that had a near 0.93, which is quite impressive. Let's see 2 other types of artificial intelligence methods in 2 studies that I found, again, interesting and I think are worth to discuss. The one is by Fu and colleagues in China. It was performed in 2020. They used oral photos again from hospitals in China. They trained again a convolutional neural network to identify and process the pictures. The cancer was identified by the use of suspicious spots in the pictures. And what I found interesting in this particular study is that as a comparison group, they used humans and not other AI systems. So they compared it to human experts, which I think it's very, very intriguing. Let's see how they did. So this graph compared the accuracy of the deep learning model to the human specialist and other non-experts in detecting oral cancer from images. So this is how they performed. This blue cross is how the experts perform, and the red line is how the system performed, the ROC curve, and the under the curve area was 0.97 and with a good confidence interval. So we can see that the system the friends from China used did almost as well as a clinical expert in identifying cancer from clinical photos. As I promised, I won't talk only about oral clinical photos, but also oral pathology photos. Another very, very interesting study is this one from Kiruthika and Rahmat Nisa in 2020. They used public source database images. The good thing with public source databases is that others can have access easily and compare the studies. They used another type of convolutional neural network, the very deep convolutional neural network, which is much deeper. What does this mean? It looks at the image in a more detail and through many layers of analysis. So each layer helps it understand the image better, but by focusing on very, 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 very small details. Details that maybe we as human eye owners, we have our own eyes to train, maybe we don't see as fast, or sometimes we cannot even spot. You see the segmentation process. I remind you, check out in the original lecture about AI techniques, how data augmentation is performed. With this system, the neural network can find complex patterns and they categorize these patterns, and then they recognize them very fast in the images they analyze. So in the end, they, according to being trained in many similar and different patterns, they have a data set of settings, and they decide, even in complicated cases, with higher possibility of being correct. What they found out is that the cancer identification was very good, impressive accuracy, near more than 98%. So I won't go a lot into, again, discussion about how oral pathology can benefit from that and oral medicine can benefit from all that. I'm just presenting now with an easy, I try to do it as easy as I can way the studies, and then we discuss. And I collected some studies that I think are worth discussing. I repeat a lot my perspective of how I prepared the presentation. Let's go now to the cancer recurrence. So we have this study by Fatapur et al. Published in 2023. They used a huge database, the SEER database, which is a USA Center of Disease Control database. It has a lot of database for various, from many types of diseases. You know, CDC is the Center of Disease Control in America, the NIH and all the FDA. These are all the big federations of medical professionals in America, and they have a national database where they make the statistics for various diseases. So they have a statistic for oral cancer as well in this SEER database. What they did the SEER stat software, and they got registries from 18 years, 2000 to 2018. They processed cases and they extracted different features of relevant information. They trained and validated the model, and the purpose of the study was to identify cancer recurrence in 5 and 10 years. So they had an extensive number of cancer case data to verify the prediction. Let's see how they did it. The gradient boosting machine is a technology that combines several little models, such as tiny decision trees, you know, yes, no, to create a better and more accurate model. Each subsequent model seeks to correct the flaws of the preceding one bit by bit, much like building on existing knowledge. So this is called the gradient descent technique. And what's good about that is that it continuously improves the model by learning from the mistakes. This is a very, very important feature of artificial intelligence. So another good point of GBM is that it can handle a wide range of data types and even difficult issues. So it can be a quite helpful decision-making tool in making precise prediction. So let's make an easy way to understand it. Let's say we build a house. We, as non-experts, we say, I want my house like that. Then an expert architect comes and adds extra details, and another comes and adds, and then we have a house. We give the imagination, and the system perfectionize it. So this model did quite well in predicting 5-year cancer recurrence and 10-year cancer recurrence for oral cancer, especially tongue cancer. The good points, it used simple and common markers in training. So the data they used are easy for others to use, and the repeated it's a repeatable model, and not that we place our experience apart and we only use such systems, but it can be a helpful tool in making follow-up plans more organized and more personalized. A similar effort by the authors Alabi and colleagues in 2019. What they did, again, they used an artificial neural network to predict cancer recurrence, but this was trained with a mix of clinical and histological data, and they focused on early oral cancer, which is very important, as both oral medicine clinicians and oral pathology specialists understand. We don't have a lot of good data on early oral cancer and how to predict possibilities of recurrence. What they did, they used data from more than 300 patients from Finland and Brazil, and they collected 30 years of data. We should thank them because they made the tool available online. And by using simple information, this type of technology can help us predict the cancer behavior. So some interesting results from the data collection. They used the system of artificial neural network. It is learning from experience like most artificial neural networks, and it can make connections like mimicking human neurons. So the more you give to this system, the better it works. And as mentioned in the earlier introductory presentation, data is the key point in artificial intelligence studies. We should collect data well, as much as a variety of data as we can to make a good AI project. So the overall accuracy was almost more than 18% with this web prognostication tool. The good thing is they use the easy histological parameters, and these are parameters that can be used using routine hematoxylin and eosin staining. And some of those parameters, most of those parameters are routinely included in pathology reports. So this is an easy tool for worldwide application. Let's go to another. This is a more complicated study. Again, this is from a group of colleagues in Spain that I feel lucky to know personally, especially Professor Jose Bagan from Valencia, who is both medically trained and dentist who specializes in oral medicine, and is a very, very, very good colleague, a very experienced clinician, and has authored many research articles in oral medicine. So they used a neural network to detect and extract lesions from medical images. They wanted to identify areas in leukoplakia that may be dysplastic or may progress to oral cancer. Let's see what they did. And I will try. This is a more complicated system of processing, and I will try to make it as easy as possible. So they had a huge number of oral leukoplakia cases over a follow-up time of 5.5 years. That's good data. They were chosen by Professor Bagan. We trust him. So they had really good data, and they selected correctly cases. So this is a good one. They did a manual image segmentation from Professor Jose Bagan, which means that they created the map of where the lesions are more suspicious manually. So they validated the system with 77 clinical cases, and after the classification test was performed, they try to see if they can accurately predict leukoplakia regions that are of higher possibility to become malignant. And let's see with more detail what they did. So this is the process of segmentation, the dysplasia map, the oral cancer risk map. It's quite an interesting. You see, this is a more sophisticated research. So I will explain it in a very simplistic matter. So here, because you see different colors, what happens? The UNET colors and details medical images, such as not only clinical photos, but also scans from MRI scans, CT scans, etc. With this system, it kind of scans photos, and it uses algorithm to fill in information on medical photos. This is how we do it. We send the medical picture in the system, and examines the image and uses its clever brain to not only define, but also to enhance selected portion of images, so it can highlight better the image. You can see how this is applied here in this particular example that the authors decided to use. What is more interesting is that it is intended to perform well even when there is not a lot of data to learn from. So even if we have few well characterized and well followed up cases in our archive, if we train this system correctly, we can have a helper to give us a prediction of which is the most suspicious lesion, which can perform really well. Well, actually, in this case, they didn't miss malignant prediction. They didn't miss high risk areas, but in some cases, they incorrectly identified non-malignant cases as possibly malignant. So maybe in this one, we may put some benign lesions in the red flag area, but at least we don't miss the really important ones. And again, I want to focus on data. This is a more sophisticated technique. It's published in Oral Oncology, it's free online, if you want to go in detail. But it really needs improvement. And I think it's if you have the experience, you can understand how it can be better trained, because we train these systems to give us good results, even if we only have a few well-characterized cases. And this is important. I keep your attention in that, because some of these cases like this, we don't have a lot of good images, good data, multiple histopathology images, etc., etc. So let's see another study that is applied for predicting malignancy-free survival, so how long the patient will survive without having cancer again, using advanced predictive analysis techniques. This is a study of 2021 by I. Doye and colleagues. Let's see what they did. Again, this is a study from China. They use the deep serve, which is like a small serve, which is like a smart computer that learns from patient data like age, treatment, genetic information if available, and it can make personalized predictions about how long a patient may live or stay disease-free after treatment. They also use the random survival forest, which is like a forest of decision trees. You remember yes, no, where each tree uses patient data to make its own survival time prediction. Then all these come together and they make a more accurate overall prediction. How they perform? They perform really well in making a good prediction. It has a high concordance index, and I believe most of you know the concordance. I will explain a little bit this integrated Brier score in case some of you are unfamiliar with. I think it might be useful. So it's a way to check the accuracy of prediction over time, not just at one moment. So let's say we have a scorecard, and we keep an eye on how good predictions are from start to finish. If we combine a lot of scores from different times, we give a single measure. If we have a low score, it means that through a wide range of time, we had good prediction. So we want a low Brier score. So this one is a good integrated Brier score. So it's like having checking back 1 year's predictions of weather reports and making a decision if we have a time to time and how accurate it is, not only just to predict the weather all day, but how accurate it is at predicting the weather for a year at 10 a.m. or at 11 p.m. So according to this study, they used also the random survival forest model, which is used to predict precancerous conditions and how possible it is for them to move to cancer, to progress to cancer. So they used again the same measures as mentioned before, and they identified that this random survival forest, it was a really good tool in predicting um, how a precancerous condition or lesion may progress. Now, before we start the discussion, I hope you found interesting the selection of research I selected to present, and it was by my personal preference that I chose these studies because I really thought these are interesting works to discuss. So I will mention a few biases of artificial intelligence studies to make the discussion also a bit structured. So data imbalance. The most important thing again it's to how to choose the correct tool and apply it to useful data. So when we have a data set to train the artificial intelligence models and it contains an unequal distribution of samples, the model may be biased towards the category that is overrepresented in the training data. So this may cause a problem. Another problem is the population representation issue. So if we have we need to know the population we are going to use it. For example, we cannot use a model trained for oral leukoplakia in America to check people with oral submucous fibrosis in India, just because we mention it as a tool for precancerous or premalignant or potentially malignant conditions prediction tool. So we have to be careful with these details. And of course, there is the confirmation bias. The confirmation bias, it's for all type of studies, not only for artificial intelligence, because the researchers may interpret outcomes in a way excuse me, that reinforces their pre-existing opinions or theories, and consciously or unconsciously can do that in all types of studies, let's be honest, and may have an impact on the objectivity evaluation of the performance. So the research reviewed showed some substantial advances. We can have some good data with this type of artificial intelligence tools. I think we should try to evolve together with the technology. This this presentation was intended to make us not fear reading about it, to make us not fear trying to do studies in artificial intelligence, because it can have a role in impacting our field, both oral medicine and oral pathology. I don't think we should be overexcited or over skeptical. We should just be logical, and we should approach without fear all this technology. And at this point, I want to thank you, and especially Professor O'Donoghue, for this opportunity to be part of the group and present my thoughts in this presentation. I feel very privileged to share these insights in the field of healthcare with you. I really enjoy being part of this group, the 360 Oral Pathology group. And I believe we will have a very interesting discussion. I hope I didn't bore you, and that my goal was achieved, to make you not lose time by when you read similar studies, so you have an idea how this system works and can help you read this abundance of artificial intelligence studies with more confidence. Thank you very much for your attention.
Yes. Thank you so much. That was really a very thorough and very interesting presentation, and really put it across very simply, I must say. Now, let's see if we have any questions anywhere. Of course, we have already had a lot of hellos, and that has been going on. Okay. Professor Hilly has one. Professor Hiller has one. How far are we from using mobile phone technology to have paramedical staff routinely screen oral lesions in villages, which India is pioneering, I believe?
Not that far
Yes.
away. We are very near. Probably studies like the one I presented from Jordan that created applications for mobile phones, and I think similar studies are running all the time. Will give these kind of tools available, and these are intended for this type of use you describe non-experts, and help them be more confident to look in the mouth, so we have more and better oriented referrals. Like like you mentioned here, if you need someone to decide who is important to make a long trip to visit a specialist. We have the exact same problem here in Greece, Professor Chile, because in Greece we have many islands that are isolated, and people have to travel either by plane or make a long boat trip to go to a specialist. And we hope this will help. I am part of an initiative here in Greece, not yet very well established, but it started during the pandemic to organize telemedicine booths inside the local small local medical departments. Let's say we only have one GP in an island, and he has a very well organized telemedicine booth, so they can send live photos and live updates, or send offline photos and discuss with the specialist clinician online. This is a very, very, very interesting application and will help a lot. Thank you for pointing this out.
Yes, this will really help. I think almost 2006, that would be how many years back? I don't know. Sorry,
I don't know.
2013. 2013.
10
Yeah,
years.
there was this study 10 years. Oh, yeah, it's exactly 10 years, 11 years. There was this study that started using mobiles here. Yeah, it was an international collaboration. The idea was to use mobile photos and then send it to a central system, just send it as a snapshot and then get back the result. That was still using a mobile, and the background was just a server that would run the comparison photos, and the plan was whether they would then have specialists who would look at it. So clearly we have gone way past that. I don't know where that study reached, but I think we are way past that, and this should come up very fast. I like the idea of having a little booth, sort of a photo booth, and
It
tele whatever conferencing booth.
Yes, this was the idea during the pandemic. It started. It got it and now after the pandemic, it is expanding, and it is intended because we have hundreds of small islands and people live there permanently. You cannot have a special in every island, so they have to decide. And moving the patients, it's very expensive. You cannot move someone just to have a suspicion. You have, and can be dangerous sometimes because the weather is not good. Sometimes we cannot travel from island to island if the weather is bad. It's not easy.
True. Yes. In fact, interestingly, just yesterday I went to a McDonald's, and now you can place your entire order yourself on one of those, screens, touch screens. So you choose what you want, bill yourself, decide whether you want to pick it up from the counter or you want it on your table. I can foresee a future where you will walk into one of the, a space and then say, I have a mouth lesion, I have a lesion here, or, my hand is paining, or, choose anatomical part and decide and sort of go on with your own work. Well, that'd be interesting, especially in countries where resources are low. Okay, we also, let me say also hi to Dr. Arvind Babu and Dr. Abhishek Banerjee. Yes, hi to both of you. Any more questions, anyone? um okay, so until more questions come, let us just discuss. There's a very interesting part and an interesting thing that everyone says, is that we have the concept garbage in, garbage out, right? And with these, which they need to be trained, if the training is not appropriate, if the annotations done at some point for those images, the annotations are done by human beings, of course, and if those are not done properly in the first place, I've always wondered, and in fact many people wonder, I'm not the original in that, is what happens to the training that goes on. I know the volume is supposed to rectify that problem, because you have a large number it's training from. So if a similar lesion 20 times has the right annotation and 2 times has the wrong one, it will find the correct one itself. But have you come across any explanation of how they intend to overcome this?
First of all, apologies because I saw a lot of other interesting questions
Your
coming.
mind was there. I could see you looking there. Anyways, it's
And
okay.
look, I was trained here with a very good clinician, an excellent clinician. Maybe you've heard of him, Professor George Laskaris. He was often referring to what he calls optική εκπαίδευση in Greek, which means optical education of the doctor. The doctor should be trained in many images so he or she can do the correct annotation to train the system. So we don't rely only on the system capabilities. We have to train doctors really well. And the first thing that came across my mind when I studied and I started to understand how the system works was exactly what Professor Laskari said. You need to see a lot of patients. It's not only like the DEIT system that learns that you don't. You may read thousands of books. You may know very well pathology, very well internal medicine. You may be a super expert, but if you don't see patients, you don't train your eyes to get the information. You have to train your eyes. You have to be on next to the patient all the time. So we need good. That's why I insisted so much in the study by Professor Bagan, because he trained the system and we can be confident that he trained the system correctly. And he made the difficult question to the system, mapping leukoplakia lesions, speckled leukoplakia lesions. It's not very easy. It's not easy at all. So that's why probably he didn't do the 100% accuracy like the benign malignant. This was a very, very difficult task, and they reached a very good percentage of success rate to predict which. This is a very difficult. This is exactly the problem, the question you mentioned, Professor Donahue. We have to have a very good expert do the data training job, and we need to have a lot of good data because we need to have a lot of good data on the control group. How many of us do we take pictures of normal mouth to be fairly sure that we have normal mouth photos with different types of light settings, with different type of mucosa color, with lights on, with flash on. So we train the system to recognize. You saw the problem with the study from Bagan was they over recognized some benign lesions as malignant, or some non-suspicious lesions as suspicious to be better. We need to train the system on the benign as well, on the normal, and we need a lot of good normal data photos to train the system. I think we are ahead of a new way of thinking studies, and they will help us a lot. Not only do better for patients, because but we will save a lot of money from other types of studies as well. I don't
Very
know if
true.
I answered your
No,
question.
no, you did very well. You did answer it very well. Thank you. Because it really makes sense to think that we are actually having to basically train the people first. And that just brings me to one more thing is that okay, I will come back to my thought later. Let's deal with
Let's
everyone
focus.
else's questions first. Okay, first is Professor Hiller saying he understands the situation in the Greek island. He was there and asked around how long it takes to get informed medical assistance. So
It
I
may
think
take
you
days.
answered it.
In the normal way, if you don't have online connection, maybe months if you cannot travel, if you cannot afford to travel. Usually that's the problem, and we have late diagnosis for many types of diseases, cancers, autoimmune diseases.
True. Very well, thank you. So we have one from Dr. Arvind Babu, and he says, can we educate the patient with self evaluation in front of a mirror by designing the protocols?
So this could be an idea for another project. If you can think and design a project where when you design the project, you have to have your target population. If your target population is patients, then you have to use some patients and see how well you can train them and make correct instructions. Yes, it could be a very interesting project, the one you suggest. Thank you for your comment. It is very clever.
Yes. We have Dr. Varis Akinshipo. He says, what is the initial learning curve required to start using AI in pathology? Do you think all pathologists should be AI compliant, and to what extent?
Well, first of all, I have experience in histology, but I'm not a pathology expert. But I think we all of us were going to integrate artificial. We already have integrated artificial intelligence in our work, even if we don't realize it. But I think pathology will benefit a lot. But I don't. I'm not able to tell you what is the initial learning curve because probably it is not standardized yet, and it is something that it is very depends on each person. It is very individualized. So I think maybe Professor Donahue has a better answer on that. I cannot really reply to the learning about the pathologist. It's not my expertise.
Yeah, yes.
But as a
Actually,
clinician,
we
I can answer you as a clinician if you wish to integrate. I think we need hundreds at least, not to mention more.
yes.
Hundreds
I
of
think it's hundreds of
cases in
cases.
no, not from different. If you want to train yourself in a very special situation, like the ones they did, like
What's
you
that?
see, Bagan did 261 leukoplakias to train the system. And if you want to train an expert to use this system and do the same, I think you need almost 200 cases of this type of lesions.
Yes.
Probably. I think this is the question, right?
Yes. So what I would say is first is I'm not really practicing pathology anymore. I seem to be more creating, but at the same time, I what I would say is that from the lectures that I have heard so far is that we are still not exactly where we can reliably use only AI for diagnosis. In most places, the diagnostic part is still being trained. The platforms are still being trained, and to be able to really fast forward to a point where we have those accessible is that all of us need to be a lot more generous and share a lot more of our images in the public space and allow them to be used for training the AI.
Thumbs up. I totally agree.
It's just that we're all so possessive, it's mine kind of a thing.
Yes,
So we have to get past that.
I absolutely agree.
Right. So we have another one from a comment from Professor Hillel. Patients are getting better and better with obtaining intraoral images with mobile phones. That's true.
That's true. But I showed my very old fashioned mobile phone to Professor Donahue. One thing we
Hmm.
have to be careful is I'm going to place it near the camera.
Go
This
ahead.
is a very
Yeah.
old Motorola phone, and it has an AI application camera. What this does, the phones are designed to take nice pictures, nice selfies, and they try to make us all look better. So we cannot trust the photos from mobile phones. If we want to trust the photos from mobile phones, it's better to put it on the manual operation system and ask them to send a non-filtered photograph, because many cameras on mobile phones have already incorporated filters just to make us look better and feel better when we see ourselves on the phone photos. So that's a trick. That's a trick.
That's a trick, and that's something we should remember. Yes, definitely. Okay, we have one from Dr. Chaitanya Babu, right? Hi, Chaitanya. Okay. Can a non medical person be trained in AI in medical sciences?
Uh, I don't understand the question. I really do.
Mm.
So, someone who is in AI in what
Maybe what
means?
he means is that can the AI eventually totally replace us? Maybe.
To be honest, I don't think so. I think we will get more work from the applications of AI and more focused work. Especially the experts, will be more needed, and even if non-med. The same happened with Google. People thought that we will get Google diagnosis 20 years ago. And what happened, at least here in Greece? We have more patients because they Google the case, they reach to a dead end, they don't know what to do. Some of them, they have nothing, and then they come to the expert just to solve the case. This patient, if they visited firsthand their GP or someone else, maybe they have never had come across a specialist. So I think the same will happen with artificial intelligence. They will get a lot of details. Maybe the details will be sometimes irrelevant. Okay, we accept that nothing is perfect from day one, but in the end, it will give us a more accurate the patient group to deal with. Each specialist will get more accurate referrals. This is, I think, will be the end point. We will have better referrals, more accurate referrals, and we will work better as specialists.
Very
That's my
true.
prediction.
Yeah. And Chaitanya, if that wasn't what you were meaning, you can please type again. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Okay. So Malik Saki, I guess. I'm not very sure. I'm sorry if I messed up your name. Okay. Is there some kind of AI tool to start using so that we can have better oriented referrals?
So
It
I
means
think this
amongst
one is
general
from Greece. Is
dentists.
Alexaki? Alexaki from Greece, probably. Me, Alexaki.
Okay.
So this must be a Greek colleague. Greetings. And I don't think we have any available. But if you wish to first of all, we have the online tool from the group of Finland and Brazil, but it is for cancer recurrence. If you want an application for your phone, I don't think already exists one. But if you wish, I'm sure Professor Hassona in Jordan will be interested to share you the experience with the application they prepared 2 years ago for the mobile phones. If you're interested to make another similar project or try to see if you can use it for yourself. So commercially available, I don't think one exists. But from my personal research, I don't know. Maybe something exists and I'm not aware of.
Right. Professor Asma. She's from Saudi Arabia. As a clinician, this lecture was very informative. Thank you. Yes, she's oral
Thank you.
medicine.
Thank you very much.
Okay. And we have a continuous to that one. Are these AI tools free to download online? I think you already sort of
No,
answered that.
yes, only the one from Finland for cancer, Finland and Brazil. And Brazil, it was a cooperation for cancer recurrence, and the others are owned by the researchers. But if you wish, I think all the researchers will be happy if you contact them to share details with you if you want to use it for personal use or for research purposes with them.
True, I guess they would be because I think the more they are used, the more they will get validated. So it will help. Right. And we have Professor Sui Wen. Again, I do not know exactly how to pronounce that. Okay, AI technology is truly amazing, but it might be a long journey for us to utilize this deep machine learning in our country. Thank you for your informative lecture. Yes.
Thank you
But I
for your
think
comment.
part of the wonder of this is that once the systems are really trained with sufficient number of images and sufficient data around the world, keeping in mind that now there are all sorts of population in all parts of the world, we do not have geographic distinctions
Boundaries.
as much as before. I think once the systems are developed, you don't have to wait till individual region develops it. I think they will be modified to match. That's my thought, of course, and
I
I
agree.
hope that's how it is.
I agree, and
Yes.
I hope that's how it is.
Yes. Then we have Dr. Abhishek Banerjee. Hi, Abhishek. Yes. Currently, many studies are done with histopath and clinical images. So, are there any protocol or machinery or language to standardize few criteria, and what is the minimal cases number we need?
Again, referring to the studies presented, I think they all used at least some hundreds of cases to start with. They had at least 200, 300 cases to make it possible to predict. But I don't understand the kind of tool you refer to. Do you refer to image recognition tool, like or to a prognosis tool? I didn't understand the question in that sense. Standardize few criteria and what is the minimal cases we need for what type of study?
I think he
Maybe
means
this is the
any type,
question.
any specific type. If you want to start and do it, how much of images would you need to train the system?
They all used at least some hundreds of cases, some used more. But for the prediction tools, they used even more. Like the SEER database is huge.
Yes. I think, Dr. Abhishek, you can go and watch our the very first AI lecture we had with Dr. Elmer, and he explained very well about how the data size has to be,
Really
and
well.
this, yes,
I
and the
really enjoyed it.
training. Yes, I think you watched it. Yeah. Yes, it's very well done there. And the idea is sometimes you can use that many cases, but you got to remember that it doesn't necessarily have to be just that many cases. It is now they use a system to magnify the data
Data
by
aggregation.
multiple points from the same case. Multiple images from the same case is used uh, to actually train so that the numbers can come down, but still they are rather huge.
They call this process data augmentation. I mentioned that if you want to
Augmentation. Yes,
search in the
perfect.
data augmentation process.
Yes. Thank you. I could not remember the word. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. As I spoke to many computer science departments in IITs, they need more than 1,000. Yes.
Mhm.
Will these images deteriorate over time? Don't think so. Anyway,
What do you mean deteriorate?
not sure.
They
Okay, you can please add that. In the meanwhile, let's move on. I think we have quite a few that are pending. Okay. Dr. Kinshipo says he agrees with that we need to share images. Dr. Chaitanya has cleared that he meant whether AI can replace us. So I think we have answered that. We have another from Dr. Banerjee who says share the research groups where Indian aspiring OPs, aspiring researchers can work together, maybe for doctoral projects. That will be rewarding. We will have to look for them and find them.
Sorry, the letters are
Okay.
very small in mine. That's why.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. Shall I read it again for you?
No, 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 no. I got it. I got it. But
You got it. Okay.
I think thank you for the comment. We should do that. You're right.
Yeah. Right. Dr. Kinshipo also, I think, is saying, do you know of sites and forums where data and image is being shared so we can add more and also use to improve models in existence? Have you come across any?
I mentioned one. It's the Medley,
Oh,
and in the Greece is in Europe, and we're part of the European Union. Now there is a funded effort from the European Council to gather photos from imaging techniques like MRIs, CBCTs. They try to get a lot of CBCTs from jaw lesions and Yes, there is an initiative. I don't know if I can share with you the. It is only for. I know definitely the medley. Maybe you can see how you can give your photos there. And I know we have the initiative for radiology images in the European Union. I cannot offer you precise information right now. Maybe I will search and add to the comments later.
Yes, perfect. Please share them and I will share them, or you can directly put them in the comments on the video. Okay, so Professor Wynn says thank you so much.
Thank you too. You too.
And we have one of our senior oral pathologists from India, Dr. Suresh. Yes, sir. Welcome. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Okay, Dr. Abhishek is saying image analysis. Will the image quality deteriorate? I don't think so.
I cannot answer that. I'm not an expert in this. The image quality. If we over enhance during the data augmentation, that's probably I cannot really answer that. It's very technical. It's a
Okay.
good
Yes.
point. It's a good point, but I
Good
can.
point.
I'm not. Thank you for this. For pointing out this. That's why we need good photos from the start. It's a good.
Very good point. That's true. And yes,
I recognize
Dr.
Alexakis from Greece. Yes,
Yes,
I
he
know.
is
The
from
last
Greece.
name is
He or
Greek.
she is from Greece.
Thank you. Thank you
Yes.
for joining us.
Okay, I think we have covered everything. Yes, and we are a little over time, so we should now call an end. And yes, thank you everybody for all your contribution of questions and discussions. Is what keeps this interesting to have, live sessions rather than just upload videos, and which I must add are a lot simpler, but yes, we come back every week and we are happy to see you here discussing. And we will try and get back some of the answers which we could not give, and try and find out where the data is available. And if I find it, I will share it definitely. So, for everybody who's here, if you have not hit the like for the lecture, I'm sure you liked it. So, please hit the like. And also, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And the Professor Hillis says, great seminar.
Thank you.
Yes. She did great work. Actually, I've seen her working on this and posting on this on LinkedIn for quite some time. Yes. Right. So we are done. And there are lots of thank yous coming in now. Thank
Thank
you
you very
all.
much.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
And
That's very nice.
thank you. Thank you so much, Professor. I forgot how to say it. Eleni. Oh,
Eleni,
sorry.
Eleni Georgakopoulou. Eleni. Just
Korakopolo. Okay, it just sort of disappeared out of my head. I tell you, I must be getting old.
no,
Okay,
no.
things just disappear.
It's just
Okay,
very difficult to pronounce. I know.
it's all right. It's the same.
It's
Everybody calls me Mandana because no one wants to tackle Donahue, so it's okay. Right. So thank you so much, and we do hope you will come back again, and we will have another follow up with more details. And there was a part which we decided to leave out, so you can come back with that part. Yes,
nice. Anytime.
because because I made her keep it short. So there is a part of the lecture you all have missed. We can call her back for that. Okay, thank you so much.
So much.
And anything you want to say as a wrapping up comment?
From my side. Yes,
Yes.
first of all, thank you all for your kind comments and thank you for the invitation. As I mentioned in response to a question, I think we will be more benefited from artificial intelligence than we will be threatened. And I think this applies to all kinds of technologies we apply in our everyday practice. And we should be more enthusiastic in learning new technologies rather than be skeptical. Let's start using it, and we get the skeptical point after. I think we should.
Afterwards.
Yes, first we should be more brave, and then we do the retrospective thinking of what we may do better. Or I'm
Yes.
a positive person, as you see.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Yes. And I have to say, I totally agree with you. And frankly, I think we are at a stage where even if you don't want to, you don't really have a choice. So it's a question of, if you can't just stay on the track, you have to get on the train or get off the track. But since we want to continue in this line, I think we need to get on the train and move with it. And it's just something we have to learn. I think all of us have learned so many complex things in our training, in our everyday practice. Any
Absolutely.
one of us looks around, there is so much of technology we are surrounded by, and we
You're
use
absolutely right.
so comfortably. So that this also is just one of those. And we
Yeah,
have people like Dr. Eleni, who has given us a little head start by taking the initial trouble. So everyone can start a little ahead.
that was my goal.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now I shall move on with. So see you soon. Anyway, don't go away. You're there. I will just share a few things. Yeah. So, everybody, you have been seeing, first and foremost, thank you for staying with us till this point. And I have to just share that these are the videos that you have been seeing on the channel as being shared privately only to members. So, like I said, there is a membership, and you can see the join button. And I requested all of you, if you can, to join the membership, because from those proceeds we are proceeding to create a clinical pathological video atlas of diseases. We have already got quite a few videos there. In fact, it's more than this, it's just how many I could fit. And it would be nice if you can join. There are also other perks. If you just look below, right now below the video, you will see join, and you can check it out. If you can join, great. If you can join, that's also fine. Thank you for being with us. And well, we're always there. Everything that is regular on the channel will continue to stay exactly as it has been, and the sessions will continue as always for free. So, and these are the two lectures we were talking about. They're on the channel, and if you want to see, you can go ahead and see them. The artificial intelligence lecture was the very first one, and then we had another one on the state of artificial intelligence in clinical detection. So you can go and watch those, and that those will give you some more idea on whatever we spoke. And of course, coming to next week, and that is, we are going to be talking again about lichen planus. This time we are searching for answers. It's more clinical experience of Dr. Krishna, and she's going to tell you how she manages her cases. With that, I think we've come to the last. Lovely having you all here. Please come back again next week.